old Robert Knowles here for another History with R&R Live. Hopefully everybody's having a good Monday. Mine is off to a start. Yay, I'm running late. What else is new? I'm going to be late to my own funeral. Anyway, with that said, thought I'd jump on here and kind of do a quick little live stream here. Everything, of course, not going the way it's supposed to, but whatever. So with that said, just take a quick spin through chat. Welcome, Mary's Game Room. Thank you for joining me. At least I'm not talking to my four walls. Parrothead, welcome. How are you doing? Well, I have a split personality. See, I'm not Canuck on this channel. I'm Robert Knowles on this channel. I have a split personality. I'm good that way. Anyway, welcome, Mark the Infinitely Tired, Parrothead. Good to see you. It's been a while. Been a minute. So today I'm just going to do a quick little live stream. I thought it would be important with the topic last week of the live stream we did with Loki and Mexican Iron Man, and just kind of touching on that. The other problem that I have with today's world when it comes to history, and that is the canceling or changing of history and how frequent it is. It's just it's actually kind of scary. Over, I'd say, the last 5 years, I've noticed a very scary trend that if something is wrong or we deem to be improper, we're very, very quick to hit the delete button. We want it deleted, erased from history, cancel, the cancel culture. And this is dangerous. And I think it would be a remiss for a history channel not to bring it up. Because deleting history is a very bad mistake. History is there so we learn from it. If we delete it, it's not there to learn from. Now, the people at the time will remember, well, we deleted this. Go 2 generations ahead, and those lessons that we deleted aren't there anymore. So we're bound to repeat them. There's a line that gets used to ad nauseum, but people don't take it to heart anymore. And that is, those who fail to learn from history are bound to repeat it. And I think cancel culture and we as a civilization need to stop and remember those words because we're forgetting them. Because we're all too quick to just go delete, cancel, get rid of, take this out, this can no longer be shown. The problem with that is if you take it away, if you stop teaching it, if you stop showing it, if you bury it away in a small cubbyhole somewhere, then it's forgotten. The lessons learned from that travesty or that mistake are lost to time. Which means those lessons aren't there for the future generations to learn from. So they're bound to make that mistake again. And I think that's very concerning. Because at the end of the day, we want to learn from our history. We want to progress. We want to go forward, not backwards. And unfortunately, in this world we live in right now, we're not doing a really good job of doing that. History has shown us time and time again that when we don't teach the mistakes of the past, we repeat the mistakes of the past. And I think that can do more harm than leaving it there. I think taking something away that we have learned or we have done, and no, that was bad, take it away, take it out of the history books, don't let it be taught in schools, don't let it be, no, this is bad, take it out, is the wrong approach. Because as I say, if you do that, then we're bound to repeat those same mistakes. We're bound to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. And everything that we're striving for today, for a better world, better civilization, all that good stuff, will once again fall prey to history. Because history repeats itself. It's just a matter of time. I mean, there's, to quote even in scripture, it teaches us this, because the best thing the devil ever did is convince man that he doesn't exist. If you want to go scripture, that's the long and the short of it. The best thing he ever did was convince man he doesn't exist. It's the same thing with anything in history. We look back now at World War II and some of the things that happened during World War II, we go, well, that could never happen now. Or to the point, we're not allowed to talk about most things that happened in World War II, or we get, told, that's offensive, that's bad. Why? Why is talking about history bad? If you think about it, even as a History Channel myself, I have to sit there, and when I'm talking about certain topics, like last Thursday, I have to be very careful about how I say things, right? Even Bird of Prey 5, and I thank him, tried to state what the stream was about. And he had to censor himself because he's a monetized channel. He wants to keep his monetization, and I understand that completely. But that shouldn't even be a question, because we weren't talking anything crazy. We weren't being racist or anything of that sort. We were just pointing out times in history where the medical profession got it wrong. The science community got it wrong. Medical profession did not have our best interests at heart. That's it. This was basically the gist of the stream. And he had to censor himself. Because if he didn't, he could run the risk of losing his monetization, because we're in a world where if we don't like something, we cancel it. If we don't like it, we delete it. Which is, to me, the dumbest thing on the planet, because all we're doing is we're setting it up so that our children are doomed to live through all the stuff we're canceling. If you think about it, our children's children will deal with it again, because in that time frame, it will be forgotten. All the things that we're outraged about now and we're trying to change, it only works if there's a record of what we're trying to change. It doesn't work if it's deleted, because if it's deleted, then it never happened. It's never taught, it's never thought about, it's never gone over, it never happened. It's done and dusted. And through the law of history, it will be repeated time and time again. If we're not careful, if we're not vigilant, that's why at the end of World War I, one of the catchphrases, per se, that we still use to this day is never forget, never again. Right? Never forget, never again. And after World War I, the absolute slaughter that was World War I was drummed into people's heads over and over and over and over and over again. And the reason it was drummed into people's heads, even to this day, if you think World War I, you think mud, you think trenches, you think needless slaughter. And the reason you do that is because people not only remembered it, but taught it, highlighted it, and drummed it into the next following generation's head. Never again, and never forget. That's why there's still World War One monuments. It's over 100 years ago. But can we say the same thing about something that happened last week? 10 years ago? 5 years ago? Well, no. If it falls under something that we consider to be uncomfortable, if it falls under something that we consider to be wrong, we want to delete it. Well, deleting it doesn't do anything. All deleting it does is sets us up to repeat it and do it all over again. Because it's not there. It's not taught again. So, as history teaches us, as I've said several times already, if you don't teach it, it will be repeated. So taking moments of history out of a curriculum, which they do, I don't understand, but they do. Like, for instance, my son's history teacher at his school. I really like this guy. We made a few changes so that my son would end up in his history class again. Because he teaches history very well. He's one of the few teachers that I actually like at my son's school. Because my son's actually said, he's like, Dad, this guy will sit there and go, this is what all the other history teachers will tell you, and this is what I'm going to tell you. And that's kind of refreshing and nice. However, in today's world, those people are very, very few and very, very rare. For the most part, if we see something that we find uncomfortable, we're quick to delete it. We're quick to put it off into the far corner where, nobody can see it, because if they see it, then they'll be insulted, and that's bad. So erase it. Well, erasing it from history doesn't do anything but guarantee it will be done again. That's it. That's all cancel culture is accomplishing. At the basic of it is they are making sure that every bad thing that happened in history will be repeated. And welcome, Colin P. Smith. Today is kind of a rare rant about modern day stuff on the History Channel. But, what can you do? Hope you're doing well. Hope your weekend was good. Hope everybody had a good Easter, etc. So to me, this is something that means a lot to me, because it pisses me off that history can be deemed racist or wrong or improper. No, history is just history. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's history. Also, the other thing that a lot of people have to understand is history means so much else to so many different people, and history is also in the eyes of the beholder. Because you can break down history into different categories and go, well, okay, this is bad. Well, I was thinking about this the other day, and we like to erase things that we think are wrong. Well, history is just events, and they're usually put in a lens, and then depending on which lens you look at it through will depend on your opinion of it. Such as, okay, let's take just because I like to pick on my American friends. Let's take the Revolutionary War, just for kicks. Now, on one hand, we could look at it as the great war of independence that made a free country the United States. That's one framing of the Revolutionary War. However, you could also spin that and go, nope, that must be removed because that teaches our children that rebelling against the authority is a good thing. Right? Could easily be spun either way. Just depends on the lens you're looking at it through. From the British side of view, that wasn't such a good thing. So maybe we just cancel it. Delete it. Because it's a bad thing on this lens. And that is something that scares me because more and more and more, that's exactly what's happening. It's just on a smaller scale. And it's crazy to me that we have come to the point where we don't even remember our own lessons in life. Our brain is thinking, okay, well, if we delete it, it won't happen again. Completely forgetting the law of man, which is if you forget about things, you repeat shit. Okay, so Chris Persia here has a comment. Let's read this one. The precursor to World War II was adherent. I'm sorry, I'm butchering this. I need more coffee. So do we no longer teach that teach that and edit it out to create a safe space? Exactly, right? Or do we learn from it so that society could move forward as a whole? Exactly. And I butchered that, and I'm sorry, Chris Persia. I need more coffee. But that's exactly what I mean, right? You could look at almost anything there is out there right now, and you could put it into a lens that I could probably fit it into something that needs to be canceled. Okay? But if you do that, if you cancel history and you demonize something, I mean, if it's warranted, fine. I mean, yeah, nobody wants a country run like Germany was from about 36 to about 45. But at the same time, if we don't teach our children what led to that, what allowed that to happen, and what that was really like, then they don't have a clue. They have no idea. And sooner or later, it will be forgotten. And then somebody is going to step up, repeat those steps, and it will happen again and again and again until we learn from that mistake. It is like when my kids were growing up. I used to get a lot of grief because I didn't bubble wrap my kids. I let them make their mistakes. I still do to this day. I let my kids make their mistakes. I don't hover over them. I'm not a helicopter parent. I don't bubble wrap my children. I let them completely fall on their face. And the reason I let them completely fall on their face is because once they fall on their face, they pick themselves back up and they do better the next time. And they learn from that mistake. If you take away the lesson, then there is no consequence for stupidity. That's the problem. That's what delete culture does. There's no consequence for stupidity. If you're always there to make sure they don't hurt themselves or do something stupid, then they don't learn from doing something stupid. And that may sound trivial and not belonging on a history channel, but if you think about it, it's the same thing with history. If we do not allow people to know the history, they will repeat it. And we've got to stop giving dad answers to things. Like, seriously, we've got to stop giving dad answers. Now, a dad answer is simply because I said. We're replacing lessons with because I said so, which is a dad answer or a mom answer if you're a single mom or dad. But it's typically a dad answer because I said so. We do that with everything. Well, why can't we do this? Because I said so. All right. Well, that doesn't tell you a lot. And I think at the end of the day, we really need to take a hard look at things and kind of hit the brakes, because the more history we delete, the more history we will repeat. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but you go a generation or two ahead, and those lessons in life are gone. I mean, for instance, I would put it to you to go to a high school or talk to children, well, not children, but teenagers from the ages of 15 to 18, and ask them what went wrong at the psalm. And after they give you the deer in the headlights because they don't know what the hell the psalm was, me and you know what the psalm was and the mistakes that were made and the repercussions of said mistakes. Ask them what the psalm was. Won't have a fucking clue. Ask them up here in Canada. One of my favorites is Dieppe. Now, most people don't even know Dieppe happened. It's one of the biggest tragedies known to the Canadian military. However, most people don't know about it. Don't have a clue. And it's because we stopped teaching those things because they were uncomfortable. We stopped teaching that information because it was uncomfortable. It was deemed that's a little too much for children, or that was a bad time in history. The less said about it, the better. That is one of the worst and damaging lines I've ever heard in my life. That's the, less talked about, the better. Yeah, so we can repeat it. And Colin P. Smith says, they learn to look where they step and put their arms out. Yeah, and they don't do, they learn. My children learned real quick that I was going to let them make their mistakes. Their friends, some of their friends' parents, they needed a minute by minute update. They needed to. My kids would look at me and go, "Well, I'm bored." I said, "Good, go outside." And they'd go, "Well, what do I do?" I don't know. I said, "I don't know. You go figure that out." Whereas some of their parents, their friends' parents, would have an itinerary set up from like 2:00 you go pee, 3:00 you go to Billy's, 4:00 you come home for supper, 5:00 you it was ridiculous. Some of these people have like a day planner and it's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm going into a father rant instead of a history rant. Whoops. I'll get back on topic, I promise. It's been a while since I've done this on my own. Anyway. Yeah, or that was a dark time in history. Exactly, Colin P. That's another brush stroke. That was a dark time in history. We don't talk about that. Well, if you don't talk about it, you morons, it's bound to be repeated. So one of my things I've been doing lately on the History with R&R and Rambling Canuck channel is I'm really pushing this, and please don't get mad at me for being a salesman, but oh well. I just want to make sure that everybody is aware. Doom's Memorial mug at the end of April will be pulled from the store. The link should be in the chat to get to the store. If not, it's in the description of this live stream. If you want the Memorial mug, please grab it this month, because as of the end of April, this mug will go away. It was only meant for a limited run. So it will definitely it's just a nice little commemorative for my old co-host, who I miss dearly. But the mug, it will be pulled down at the end of April. So I'm just really stressing to people that, if you want the Memorial mug, grab it now, because it won't be there for long. And welcome, Purple Valkyrie. Hope you're doing good, I would imagine, this evening. So basically, I just wanted to kind of remind everyone and caution those that think that canceling history or deleting history is a good thing, because it's not. All it does is it guarantees we will repeat whatever you're trying to cancel. And at the end of the day, deleting things that are uncomfortable doesn't work. I mean, if you think about it this way, if you repress something, if something bad happens to you and you repress it and you don't deal with it and you don't confront it, it's there and it will completely destroy you from the inside out. Think of that history-wise. If we put something in a dark corner and make and do everything not to discuss it and not to discuss what and why it's wrong, future generations will not know that lesson and will not be able to move forward. They will get trapped. They will do it over again, and you'll be right back at square one, because that generation never learned that that was a mistake. That we've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, as the old saying goes. Wow, I'm dating myself. Anyway, with that said, I'm going to wrap it up now. I've been rambling on for about half an hour here. And I just thank everybody who came in chat. And I'm going to try to keep this one a short one, because I kind of hope that everybody will share this out, because I think this is important. If nothing else, I think this is really, really important that we get the message out that this cancel shit has got to go. Deleting history doesn't help. All it does is guarantee it will be repeated again. All it does is guarantee that we will make the same damn stupid mistakes over and over and over again. Because if we don't teach what was wrong, what we've done wrong, so it's kind of going to go into a dad rant again. It's like when you don't ever have your children look at their mistakes. You don't let them understand that they didn't quite get there. It's like the trophies that, now that when you're in sports, everybody gets one. It defeats the purpose of doing this damn thing in the first place. Because if everybody gets a trophy, what's the point? Why try harder? Why train harder? Right? If everybody's in first place, then what's the point? We're very dangerously, in every aspect of our life, not allowing negative things in. And we're doing this in the sense that, well, if we talk about this, then we're giving it a voice and all this other garbage. No, if we talk about it, if we examine what we did wrong, then we can correct it. If we don't, then we're just either bound to repeat it, or we're just not going to try. I mean, think about it. My son, I always laugh because even my son hates them. And he plays football all the time. And he's like, yeah, we got, if it's not first, second, or third, my son doesn't even bother. I don't even think he brings the medal home. I think it ends up like in a garbage can somewhere. But if it's not first, second, or third, he doesn't care. And even second and third, he pissed off with himself because he didn't get to the end. But we're not allowing people to look back at a negative situation and try to turn a positive out of it. It's nope, that negative feeling or that negative part in history has got to go. Delete it from history. Well, the problem with that is if you delete it from history, I guarantee you somebody in the future will rewrite that. I guarantee it. Except next time it may not, The problem with that is every time it's repeated twofold. 9 times out of 10. So, with that, so that I'm not just repeating myself, and because I want this to be a little bit shorter so that people can share it out and listen to it, I just hope that this live stream has given you a little bit of food for thought. And till next time, as Richard Simpson would say, thank you and good night.